everybody. I'm Claire from the Hedberg Public Library. I am starting my stream just a little bit early to make sure that everything's set up, that everyone can see what's going on, and things like that. So I'm just going to be bustling about my kitchen here for just a couple minutes, and then I will start right at 3. So give me just a minute here. Trying to set up my laptop so that I can make sure that I can chat with you guys if I need to. So yeah, just give me just a moment here. So the way that I have this set up, as you can tell, I'm sideways in order to get the full shot of making sure that you guys can see what I'm doing here. I did have to turn my phone into a strange way, so you might have to turn your device or see if you can flip it. Again, we're just playing around and seeing what we can do here. All right, so we just have about a minute left before we begin here. Again, feel free to chime in anytime in our comments. I'll see, I have a live stream going right here as well, so I'll be able to see your comments as they come in. Otherwise, we are about to begin our activated charcoal soap demo. So already I have my water boiling. So a couple of things that you are going to need if you're following along. If you don't have a double boiler, like I don't, you can use your microwave and microwaving your soap for about 10 seconds at a time, stirring, 10 seconds, stir again. This one, I don't want to bore you with the microwave, so I set up my own version of a double boiler. So I have 2 pots of boiling water, and then I have these glass measuring cups that are going to be able to withstand the heat. These are what I'm going to be using to melt my soap base. Some other things you're going to need is you're going to need the soap base. Right here I have a 5-pound block of goat milk soap. It comes in like a giant container. You can find it off of Amazon. A lot of craft stores have it as well. Other things that I'm going to be adding today, of course, is the activated charcoal. You want to make sure that it's food grade. You want to make sure that it's going to be safe for your skin. You will not be eating this, of course, because it's soap. But having it food grade, again, is probably going to help you out best. Other things that I have, if you want to make your soap super fun and sparkly, I do have eco-friendly glitter. This is biodegradable glitter. It's not regular glitter that's going to have plastics in it, so when it goes down your drain, it's going to harm the environment, it's going to harm your drain. This will biodegrade, so it's really good if you're making any kind of bath product. And it's just good in general because it's good for the environment. A couple optional things that I have as well. I have a couple of essential oils with the activated charcoal because it's already going to be really good for our skin. I brought out my tea tree oil, which again is going to help a little bit more with the skin, helping with blemishes, things like that. And then I also have my lavender essential oil. Really, you can add any kind of safe food grade essential oils, making sure that you're reading the labels on your essential oils to make sure that they are safe to be mixing with your items, making sure that they're pure. Do a little bit of research, especially if you're purchasing off of websites like Amazon. Something else that's kind of fun that I want to try out today, I have beet powder here. So basically I dehydrated a whole beet in my food dehydrator. You can dehydrate your food in the oven, running it at about 120 degrees for several hours, making sure it's all nice and dry. So you can leave it at that and have some really tasty beet chips, or you can do what I did, which I threw it in the food processor and turned it into this beet powder that I'm going to add to my soap base to see if I can make it a really pretty shade of pink that I'm then going to swirl with the activated charcoal, hopefully giving us a fun little effect. Something else you're going to need are soap molds. They come in a lot of different shapes. Sometimes you can use different like candy molds or things like that. But these ones are nice because they're silicone, so they're going to be able to pop out your soap pretty easily. So let me grab our finished product here. And as you can see, this is going to be the finished product. We have a fully functional piece of soap that again you can use to wash your face, you wash your body, or wash your hands for a minimum of 20 seconds in this day and age. So that's what we're going to be making today. This one is just regular activated charcoal, and then I added some of that eco-friendly glitter in it as well, just to have some fun sparkle. All right, so now that we've gone through all of the necessary components, I am going to go ahead and get started. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to measure out your soap base. So because I'm going to be doing two different colors, I'm going to do the activated charcoal melt in this one, and I'm going to do the beet powder one in this, but I want to make sure that it's not going to overflow my molds. So I know that my molds can handle about an ounce of, or a little more than an ounce of liquids in them. So if you have a kitchen scale, that's when that's gonna come in handy. I know that through my tinkering of creating the demo for this demo, that I'm probably going to be using about an inch worth of soap base here. So I'm just going to take my regular old kitchen knife. You're going to want to be careful because this is goat's milk soap. It's going to be pretty soft, but if you're using things like a glycerin soap or something like that, it might be a little more difficult to cut through. If you heat up your knife a little bit, like dipping it in your boiling water carefully, it's going to make it cut through a lot easier. So I'm going to chop through right here, and now I have a nice good chunk. But the thing is if I just throw it in like this, it's going to take forever to melt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my larger soap block here, and I'll use a little bit here. And I'm going to cut this into smaller pieces so it will melt faster. I'm really glad that I decided to go with the goat milk base because it's going to do wonders for moisturizing your skin. And when we're washing our hands so frequently, having that extra moisturizer in it is definitely going to help. So really that you can do this with any soap base. It doesn't have to be opaque. It could be the clear glycerin soap base. I think that the white goat's milk actually seems to hold the color better, or bring it out a little bit more anyways, instead of making kind of like an opaque like you would get from a clear glycerin base. But if you just want to make shaped soaps, that's perfectly fine, or if you want to add different effects to it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and spread this out just a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off just a little bit more for my beetroot soap, just in case, so I can have just a little bit more. Again, I'm going to carefully just shave off a little bit more soap. It breaks off easily. And just add a little bit more. All right. So now my water is nice and boiling, so I'm going to carefully go ahead and set in my glass containers. Again, you can just stick these, making sure that they're microwave safe, any kind of container that's microwave safe. You can put it in the microwave and microwave for 10 seconds at a time, stir it, another 10 seconds, stir it until it's completely melted. I don't necessarily want to bore you with the whirring of the microwave, so I'm going to go ahead and use my double boiler here. All right, so I have my handy dandy little spoon here. It's not going to start melting right away. It needs to heat up a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and give that a little stir. All right. So it does look like I have a couple of you watching. I see that Gabriel is here, so hello. And yes, Eco Glitter for the win. Very excited about that. All right. So while I wait, I'm going to go ahead and put my soap back in its container. Go ahead and flip it. Makes it nice and easy. So you definitely don't need to buy a 5-pound block of this. I had originally intended to do this in-house at the library with you guys, but for now I'm going to be doing it from my home to yours. You know, keeping things safe, but once we reopen after everyone is safe and sound, we'll definitely look forward to doing this in person in Lab 316. So one thing I forgot to mention is that you don't need to have a complete pot of boiling water. I usually will measure it out so it's only about, especially because I'm using such a little amount of soap, and I don't need to melt that much. If it's kind of a different story if you're doing a large batch, but I only have my pots filled about halfway. So when I place my safe container in there, it only goes above maybe about ½ inch of where my soap is. So I'm going to take this out real fast just so I can show you guys that it is getting nice and melted. Starts melting, it melts pretty quickly. I'm going to come in here every now and then, kind of chomp at it, get it to see if I can get even smaller pieces. If you want it to go even faster, you can use like a cheese grater and actually grate your soap block. Excuse me. So the smaller the pieces, the faster it's going to melt. I had some pretty small cubes in here, so I'm not too worried, but it is going to take a couple minutes. And just keep switching back and forth and stirring, kind of helping it along. See if we have a couple more comments. Looks like we do have a couple more of you joining in for our activated charcoal soap. If you've missed the beginning, right now we're just kind of melting down our soap. We have a soap base that comes in this giant 5-pound block. It does come smaller, of course, unless you are making a significant amount of soap. And right now we're just melting it down in our double boilers, or kind of makeshift double boiler. So I have my heat safe containers, and again I just have them stuck in boiling water, helping them melt along here. And if at any point you did miss any of these instructions, this Facebook Live video will be archived on our Facebook page. So on the Hedberg Public Facebook page, and it will be available under videos. And I think we're just about there. Just maybe a few more seconds. Looks like it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove off here. Making sure that I'm not going to burn myself. Move these off of the hot. And since I decided to go with my measuring cups, I do have these nifty little handles that don't get hot. So I can pull them right out of my water. You want to make sure that you're being safe. Use a hot pad if you need it. But this is just going to be helpful because now I can pour directly from it. And because it's soap, it's not going to hurt it. I can just rinse it out and it'll be nice and clean for me. So now we're ready to add our activated charcoal. So for at least one of these soap molds, I'm going to be using a tablespoon of activated charcoal. So it's just going to come out as this nice, super dark powder. I'm going to tap it off just a little bit. I don't need a whole lot. And I just add it directly to my soap base. Now the soap base will stay liquid for quite some time, so you don't need to rush through this process. But it is a good idea to, once you get it in, start stirring immediately. So I don't know if you can all see that, but it does stay float on top of it, so you kind of have to mix it in a little aggressively. And be careful because it can blow off into your mouth. But this is food grade, so it's not terrible. But I don't recommend eating the charcoal powder. I know there's a lot of people who use it for other fun things like whitening your teeth or help filter things. So there's a lot of different good uses for activated charcoal. Oh, here's my assistant Theo. You can probably see him. All right, so I have that all nice and mixed up. All right, I'm gonna take my spoon and rinse it. If you do join me live on a lot of these, you will notice my cats. I have 3 cats, Tilly, Theo, and 3 that they like to wander around. And they also like attention, so they will be in the videos. All right, next, this is gonna be sort of an experiment. I haven't tried what the beet powder is going to do, so we're going on an adventure together here. So again, I'm only gonna do about half a tablespoon because I only have about half of the same amount of soap. So again, add it straight to that. And again, mix and mix and mix and mix. And I'm gonna get this kind of like nice pink purple color for it. I do have some larger chunks in here. It's not as fine as the activated charcoal, so there are gonna be some kind of polka dots in it, but it is going to be this nice, pretty mauve color, I guess you could call it. All right, that seems well mixed to me. Let's see, I have a couple comments here. From Elizabeth. Yes, Elizabeth, unfortunately the way that I have my camera set up to get the full corner of my kitchen, I had to turn it sideways, and I was unable to flip the video. So it's a very interesting first live stream. All right. So there's a couple of things that I can do when I want to pour this in. I could do like a fun swirl effect. I can do different layers and try a bunch of different things. It all depends on how I'm going to pour it in. So I'm going to try like a fun swirl effect and see what happens there. So first I'm going to add my charcoal, and I'm just going to pour it directly into my silicone mold here. Now, because it is a silicone mold, it is going to flop around a little bit. And when I have a hot liquid in there, it's a good idea to place it on something solid. So I have this plate. So that way when I need to move it, it's easier to move around and I'm not spilling hot soap all over myself. So that's sticking it on my hot burner. I'm just going to go ahead and pour in my soap. And I'm only filling it up about halfway. See if I can show you guys. So it's about halfway in there. And then I'm going to add my pretty mauve with the beetroot powder. I'm gonna try some latte art here. And just spread it around. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the black. Now, to get like a fun marbled effect, so it's going to be like fun and swirly, I'm just going to grab a regular old toothpick. And you can kind of see that it's nice and swirly here. Maybe. Can't get in too close. But I'm just going to take my toothpick and kind of swirl it around. Now I want to make sure I just do a little bit, because if I mix it too much, I'm going to lose that pink. And then, of course, because everything is more fun with glitter, I'm going to add some glitter. I'm going to use my spoon so it's a little bit easier to control. I just want to show you guys how pretty this glitter is. It's this nice, pretty indigo color. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on top here. Now I can leave it on the bottom if I wanted to, but I'm going to do the same thing that I did when mixing the pink and the, there they are, the pink and the black. Again, I'm going to take another toothpick and I'm going to swirl it in. Mix it in just a little bit so I have glitter throughout the whole thing. And at this point, because the soap has been sitting so long, it's starting to congeal. So again, you can't really see all of it, but it is starting to stick on there. But yeah. So now I'm probably going to let this sit for a couple of hours. Probably by dinner time it will be nice and solid. You'll know because you can squish the sides and it won't move. You don't need to like super squish it, just kind of slightly tap it. And then it will go ahead and be ready just to pop out of your mold. And then when that happens, you will have your solid soap and you'll be ready to go. So it's pretty easy. It's basically just cutting, melting, dumping, and having fun, seeing what you can do, whether it's adding glitter, whether it's finding different things around the house, like dehydrating fruits and vegetables, and seeing what kind of pigments you can get out of it when you add it to the white base. So today we learned that beetroot is going to give you this fun mauve color that we have. So try things like orange rinds. Will apple peels make a color? How about some various berries you have around the house? Again, you can dehydrate them. You can look online to see if anyone has a recipe on how to dehydrate them. Or you can just throw them in your food dehydrator if you have one of those. Otherwise, you can dehydrate them in your oven. So not only do they make a tasty snack, but you can also grind them up into a fine powder to make kind of a fun pigment for different projects that you have. So, yes. Let's see if there's any other questions. Let's see. Yes, please say hi if you're here. We love it when people say hi. All right, doesn't look like we have too much coming in, but you can always comment on this video later on and see if we have, if I can answer any of your other questions that you might have. I am not a soap making expert. I am just a woman in her kitchen having some fun during this time. So hopefully you guys can as well. Be sure to tune in to several other programs we have. If you have little ones at home, we are doing story times live from the library. We have a couple of wonderful children's librarians who have been running our story times for us there. Also, if you're interested in book talking, both Gabby and I are live on Twitch. We've been usually going live every day at noon. And you can follow us on twitch.tv/pagesandpositivity. We have links for that all over our Facebook page, so please give that a look. So again, we'll be going live at noon every day in order to talk books and what's going on and how we're keeping busy in our time of isolation. And then I'm also going to be doing several other craft programs. I'll be doing things like plastic bag fusion. I will be doing some upcycling crafts, and also I will be continuing some of my other innovation demonstrations like I did with our charcoal soap. I will also be continuing to do, I will be doing our upcycled fashion program live on Facebook, as well as our green cleaners. So again, if you guys have any questions or if you have any suggestions, please comment on this video. And otherwise, we will keep seeing you here on Facebook, live from our home to yours. So in the meantime, well, there's my lovely assistant on the counter where he doesn't belong. But in the meantime, we will see you all later, and make sure you're staying safe and having fun. Bye-bye.